Former race car driver Klaus Nietzwitz describes the hybrid drive Porsche 918 Spyder as the fastest street-legal car anywhere. It can do everything a racing car can. He tries it out on the track in Valencia, Spain, where he can push the Spyder to its absolute limits. This superlative sports car, equipped with cutting-edge technology, is limited to just 918 units. The hot-blooded design easily takes the curve from the racetrack to the city street. The Spyder hugs the asphalt low and wide. This e-hybrid comes with 3 engines, a 447-kilowatt rear-mounted gasoline engine, and 2 electric motors, 1 front and 1 rear-mounted. It's a 2-seater with monocoque made of carbon fiber reinforced plastic in the spirit of the Carrera GT, the Porsche 917 Racer, and the RS Spyder. The interior is a visual and tactile delight, with a boldly projecting center console, an instrument panel boasting 3 gauge-style displays, and a compact multifunctional steering wheel. The snug bucket seats complete the racing cockpit feel. The large touchscreen works like a smartphone's, replacing many of the traditional switches. A turn of this dial fires up the regular engine. Drivers have a variety of modes to choose from. The fully electric mode shuts down the V8 engine completely. But what can the Spyder do on the racetrack? Racing legend Walter Röhrl took the 918 Spyder out for a spin. He's never driven a street-legal car that was so much like a competitive model. Very impressive. The car roars around the racing track as if it had been made for it. The 918 Spyder is the first street-legal car to break the 7-minute mark for the Nürburgring track. At first, he could hardly believe it, but the electric motors give the car that extra punch. You feel their incredible power the moment you tap the accelerator. Walter has never experienced that with a conventional engine, and the way the combustion and electric engines work together is absolutely unique. Our other guest tester, Klaus Nietzwitz, agrees that it's something very special. He can tell the car delivers an extreme performance the moment he steps on the gas. It pushes him right back into the seat, and the brakes are every bit as responsive, gripping hard and fast. He took it up to 200 kilometers an hour in just 7.7 seconds, and it has a sound that goes with the performance. Listen, he says. The specs show just how extreme it can be. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 2.6 seconds and burning 3.1 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers, but up to 10 times that when driven close to its top speed of 345 kilometers an hour. The 2 electric motors put out 210 kilowatts of power. Altogether with the V8, they deliver a nice 652 kilowatts. When Walter Röhrl puts the pedal to the metal, he feels almost as if he were sitting in a space shuttle. He tried a racing start the day before and he says he came very close to blacking out. Your average driver could hardly even imagine anything like this, he adds respectfully.
An der Grenze, dass ich so ein bisschen Blackout bekommen habe, also es ist unfassbar für einen normalen Menschen, der kann sich das gar nicht vorstellen.
Catch the Porsche 918 Spyder if you can. This is your speed freak's new dream car. Klaus Nietzwitz admits that nobody actually needs a car like this, but he'd still like to have one, and he doesn't think he's alone in that opinion. VW's Cross Up is the beefier brother of the Up. At first glance, its striking off-road look suggests good handling in an SUV class. The regular Up has been out since 2011. Now, it's gone cross-country as the Cross Up. But is it really possible to turn a city car into an off-roader? Car tester Emmanuel says from the inside he sees no real difference to the regular Up, but from the outside he does, a little. The Cross Up features such typical off-road details as front and rear chrome finished aprons. The chassis has been raised by some 15 millimeters. Clearly defined side skirts make for a dynamic SUV look. The honeycomb grille is dominated by a plastic cladding, and the xenon headlights give the Cross Up an adventurous air. Also new are the standard roof rails. To what purpose were these changes made? Elfie Kauer of Volkswagen explains that, like the Up, the Cross Up is designed for the mini-car segment, which she expects to grow in the coming years, along with the market for off-road vehicles. And optically, VW's Cross Up is following the trend. But aside from its conspicuous design, the Cross Up remains a city car. Its 3-cylinder gasoline-powered engine is the only one available. It achieves 55 kilowatts of power and a top speed of 167 kilometers per hour. Fuel consumption is low at 4.7 liters per 100 kilometers. Emmanuel says the Cross Up hardly differs from the regular Up. It only smooths out the bumps a little better, but without sacrificing any of the driving pleasure. It's nice and zippy, and it feels good. The Cross Up can handle some rough terrain. Its greater clearance lets it move easily off the asphalt, but it's not a whole lot more adventurous than that. No expeditions into the Australian outback, for instance, but it can hold its own on reasonably level ground. In spite of its name, the Cross Up cuts a stylistically harmonious and confident figure. The dashboard, painted to match the trim, frames neatly arranged switches. The generous air vents reinforce the design's modern and sporty tendency. Our car tester sums up. On the whole, the Cross Up is well done. Of course, all the plastic outside and 15 millimeters extra clearance do not make an off-roader, but it is definitely suitable for dirt roads and forest tracks. The new, more rugged design will cost about 4,000 euros more than a comparable regular Up. In Germany, the Cross Up starts at just under 14,000 euros. But a GPS system and AC will add about 1,000 euros to the price. Mercedes has now also introduced the 4MATIC system to its compact range. The A and B classes and the coupe-style CLA sedan are now all available with four-wheel drive. The new development was triggered by the production of the GLA, a compact SUV crossover. It was unveiled at the Frankfurt Auto Show and goes on sale in March. The 4MATIC system was modified specially for the mini off-roader. It allows variable amounts of power to be delivered to the two axles and means that compact car owners can now get the added assurance provided by four-wheel drive. Another Mercedes model rocking four-wheel drive is the Sprinter van. The system can be switched on at the touch of a button. The electronic traction system, 4ETS, does plenty of work for the driver, and there's also an optional hill descent assist that can maintain a predefined speed. Sasha doubts the very first wheel crafted by mankind looked like this one. We don't know today who that inventor was, but we do know that Carl Benz revolutionized the world with his version of the motorized passenger car in 1886. Back in 1900, 14 years after Carl Benz's patent, global car sales totaled 9,504. The stats for 2013 aren't out yet, but the figure for last year is expected to be around 87 million. Preferences for class of car and brand vary from country to country. But what about the actual process of buying a new car? For our first example, Sasha is outside Cologne to talk to Martin Tervedo. He's interested in a particular car. Buying a new car can be a very emotional affair, in Germany at least. Customers here love perusing the infinite array of special offers to put together their dreammobile. 80 or 90% of customers who come to the dealership are very well prepared. They've studied online and know what they want. What Martin looks out for is the right balance of performance and safety. It is important when you have children.
Als Familienvater sollte man ein bisschen darauf achten, denke ich.
What are the priorities for people from other parts of the world?
The price, economics. Yeah.
Fuel efficiency.
For me, it has to be the price and how much it will cost you to maintain the car afterwards.
Price, brand, and dependability.
Oh, for me, important is that not brand, but very strong car.
Confortável e econômico.
Not much variation on that front then. But there is a big difference as regards another factor. I'd have to wait 16 weeks for a pre-configured new car. I waited over 6 months the first time. Around 3 months. German car buyers are prepared to wait, but get their car exactly as desired. The same is not true worldwide, however, as Sasha is going to show us. Volkswagen sold more cars in America than any other German producer last year. Sasha is outside the biggest VW dealership in New York to get exclusive insights into the buying habits of stateside customers. Americans bought an estimated 11.2 million cars in 2013. With a population of 317 million, that translates into a new car for 1 in 28 people.
Hello. Welcome to Volkswagen of Manhattan.
Sasha is wondering where all the cars are.
20. Well, we have 150 cars in stock on the roof, top on the 6th floor. Would you like to see?
A roof covered in cars, not something you see every day. Sasha wants to know what the procedure is when a customer comes in here.
I think what's special here in Manhattan is that the customer comes in to the showroom and they test drive the car today. They also take a look at the car inside and out, and in most cases they take the car home the same day, or if not today, within 1 business day.
Dealers have to stock more vehicles on site than in, say, Germany. And as buying such a quantity would be beyond the financial means of most dealerships, they don't actually buy vehicles from the manufacturer until they've found a buyer. Unlike in Germany, where customers can configure the car themselves, buyers in the U.S. have only a handful of variations to choose from. But dealers can swap cars with a partner business if, say, the desired body color is not in stock. Jack Viren is buying a new car. Would he wait 6 months?
It would be difficult. It would have to be something real special. No, it would be very, I can't imagine waiting, no, not for a year. No.
The view of most of his fellow Americans.
It was there, so I took it immediately.
Now I got my car the same day.
I usually just buy it the day of. Here in dealership, if you have the money or the financing option, you just walk out the day of if you have it.
For 3 years, financing. It's the way we do things in America, yeah. It's always simpler.
And things seem to be getting simpler for customers in Germany too now. Our German dealer guesses that 80 to 85% of purchases he's processed in the last couple of years are on credit. Those who pay it all in cash, like in the 1960s and 70s, are a dying breed. Car sales in the U.S. are also heavily influenced by fluctuations in fuel prices. Weekends when gasoline is cheap see more people buying cars. As the price at the pump goes up, sales decline. The business of car buying is in many ways an impulsive issue in America. Land Rover is known for its top caliber SUVs. The first Range Rover was released in 1970, and now the fourth generation is on the market. We take it for a spin on and off the street. The handling could be a little tighter for Matthias's taste, but it's a relaxed drive anyway. He's testing a Range Rover with the Volk equipment line. It has a 4.4-liter engine that creates 150 kilowatts of power and hits 100 kilometers per hour in under 7 seconds. It has a top speed of 218 and guzzles 8.7 liters of gas over 100 kilometers. The powerful exterior, xenon headlights, and underbody protection make it a real looker. Front cameras survey the surrounding area. The suspension can be adjusted manually. And the aluminum body makes it about 180 kilograms lighter than its predecessor. The rear lights are furnished with LED technology. Matthias takes a look inside. Apart from the high, upright seating position, the interior doesn't feel like an SUV for Matthias. It's more like a luxury sedan.
Hohe aufrechte Sitzposition, nichts mehr daran, dass ich in einem Geländewagen sitze. Wirkt eher alles wie in einer Luxuslimousine.
The interior is all about leather. The speedometer and revs counter are digital. The dashboard contains an 8-inch touchscreen monitor with a controller in the central console. The front and rear seats are, of course, leather covered. If you only have 2 rear passengers, the middle seat can be pulled down to create an armrest. The trunk can be opened at the touch of a button to reveal over 900 liters of storage space. If the rear seats are stowed away, again by pressing a button, that figure rises to 2,030 liters. Of course, the Range Rover's real strength is how it deals with all kinds of terrain. Here, the new chassis and terrain response system are the stars of the show. The system affects the chassis, engine, and drivetrain, and selects the appropriate driving mode. On rough terrain, says Matthias, the Range Rover cuts a good figure. The only things that limit where you can drive are the tires. You should always have all-terrain options for off-road driving. With the street tires we have on, you should stick to the lanes, because if you get onto really difficult ground, you've got no chance of getting out.
Wenn man wirklich in richtig tiefes Gelände fährt, hat man keine Chance.
In truth, few drivers are likely to find themselves in that situation. But if the road is blocked by water, the size of the vehicle and the 700 Newton meters of torque will get you through without a problem. You can't do this with a luxury sedan. The Range Rover can ford up to 70 centimeters of water, which is more than the previous edition. Don't try this with a Jaguar, a Mercedes, or an Audi A8. The water here is only 20 or 30 centimeters deep. That's nothing for this baby. The Range Rover lives up to its billing as a car for both on- and off-road situations. The basic model costs just over 89,000 euros in Germany. The model we tested will set you back a lot more though, coming in at a sweet 107 grand. The new BMW S1000R did not need a steep learning curve to make its mark. A naked bike without fairings and with 160 horsepower for a very fair 12,800 euros in Germany. It's raining here in Mallorca. Not exactly dream conditions for putting this high-tech speedster through its paces. But the poor weather does have one positive at least. This new naked bike is called the BMW S1000R. It makes the dash to 100 faster than a 911 Turbo in 3.1 seconds. Journalist Ralf Schütze is looking forward to handling this beast, although there are electronic assists on board to tame it. Conveniently, the bike also comes with a special rain mode. Time for ignition. And take off. The rain mode reins in the throttle response, while the ABS and automatic stability control engage relatively early, so as to prevent wheel spin and potential slip. Our guest reviewer likes the raw power and appearance of the new S1000R. He's wary of maxing out the 160 horsepower available on the slippery streets of Mallorca today, though. You still have 136 horsepower in rain mode, however, more than enough. Plus, it's a totally safe ride. The brakes feel like casting anchors, but the racing ABS is spot on. So, on the one hand, it's a thoroughbred, but one that's also good for a more laid-back trot. For Ralf, a convincing combination. Raw, racy, and raring to go. The design speaks volumes. You can see why BMW has labeled its new Street Fighter a dynamic roadster. The imposing sound of the 1-liter 4-cylinder engine is channeled through an almost delicate-looking exhaust. Up front, there are asymmetric headlamps, a nod to the bike's competitive predecessor, the S1000R. The Double R, boasting 193 horsepower, has been dominating the superbikes racing class in recent years. BMW's motorbike design chief reveals that when they made the fully faired bike, they had also thought at the back of their minds they had to make a naked bike. So they designed the engine to look really nice. We became acclimatized to the slippery Mallorca tarmac and reveled in the sound of the R. We kept on turning up the gas, safe in the knowledge that the bike would control its own speed. Typical for a naked bike, the wide handlebars allow you to sit more comfortably than on the sports version. The same applies to your knees. Comfort and power, a thrilling combination. And the way it eases through the rainy conditions make this bike a very good buy. If Ralf is forced to find a drawback, it could be the large number of identical parts. The rear looks almost the same as the Double R Superbike. Then again, for a relatively cheap 12,800 euros, you get a dynamic roadster with an awesome 160 horsepower. So all things considered, he has no problem with the shared platform concept. BMW will be banking on its latest two-wheel dream machine to conquer all when it's unleashed on the streets in the spring.